Everyone's talking about data at the moment. It's a hot topic. We must use data to inform our strategy. But I think that's kind of ironic in a sense because we're in the tech industry. We all use computers every day, have done for the last 15 years. What's different now about use of data in advertising planning?
Well, I disagree with the whole notion of we must use data because I think that actually what people are referring to is we need to target the right audience at the right time with the right message. And data plays an important part in that. I think that for a publisher, it's really about how can you provide agencies and advertisers with the most relevant targeting, and lots of times that may come from your first-party data, that may come from your third-party data sources. I think the growth of data is really around moving out of demographic data. If you think about lots of data usage, for the past 20 years, it's how I describe it as being quantitative data. You are male or female, you hope. Your age is a certain age. They're very definitive metrics. But people are now starting to use insight around whether someone's moving house, whether someone has a high credit score or not. More advanced data companies, someone like Visual DNA, they're using a motive in terms of describing an audience. So I may be male, age 34, I have a high preference for being a BMW buyer, but I love the colour red. I love socialising, I love rugby. Therefore, if an advertiser can get that insight, they can interact with that user to a much higher degree.
So, programmatic advertising techniques seem to. That's a great thing for ad tech companies. Operating in the programmatic space makes them very powerful. But perhaps does it disintermediate publishers themselves? Is programmatic all a good thing for media publishers?
Well, I think technology and tools are powerful if they're used in the right way. When we work with our clients, we talk a lot about working across the planning, deploying and measuring cycle. So you may have the best targeting, you may have the best programmatic technology, but if you're not very good at engaging with your clients from a planning point of view, if your people skills are weak, then you're not going to get the most out of them and understand what they're trying to do with a campaign. I also think that programmatic is extremely strong once a campaign has some momentum behind it. But when you start a campaign, how do you know what the right data sets or what the right audiences are to use? I think that again is where people come into play. And until robots design creative and it's people designing creative, I think it's important also to liaise with the creative side of agencies and advertise and understand actually what's behind the creative. I've seen some great use of programmatic audience targeting across multiple different platforms, but the creative they use is all the same. So again, it's about, I think, balance. So it's using, I think, the best people, the best technology, for the best client objective.
Humans and robots working harmoniously together.
Completely, yes.
Yeah. From an advertiser perspective, what is the key thing to bear in mind when it comes to programmatic ad buying?
So I think from an advertiser point of view, I think it's about your objectives. I also think it's where you are in terms of your product launches. So I would describe lots of programmatic and lots of digital still is concentrated at the lower end of the funnel. So it's about last click win. It's about how can I prove that this person who clicks on an ad is then going to buy. I worry sometimes about the information that is passed back to advertisers in terms of look how successful this campaign's been because how many people have clicked on it. A good example might be Mercedes. So someone might say, wow, look at all these clicks, but are those people the right people? Are they actually going to buy that Mercedes? They may be aspirational clickers. Actually, people who haven't clicked on the ad may have seen the ad, but then on the way home popped into the showroom and booked themselves a test drive. So I think not only do we talk about humans and robots working together, I think it's about working across the funnel and the digital media mix, but also looking at offline attribution to help with that insight. So I think for advertisers, to answer your question, thinking about programmatic needs to be just part of your overall digital strategy. It's not a strategy that exists in isolation.
All right, thanks, Eamon.
No problem.
This industry is different. The thing that I've learned in the time I've been involved with the BBC, the last 5.5 years, is the television advertising industry is definitely in love with advertising.